How's everybody doing? All right. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. All right. For those of you who think the ceremonies are going a little too quick, it's because they were trying to compensate for my lengthy speech, so I apologize. For those of you who think this isn't going fast enough, sorry, I'm just going to do. Before I begin my actual speech, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my mom, my dad, my grandparents, all my family and friends who invested in me what the largest sums of money could not buy. I would also like to thank Jesus Christ, who has never abandoned me or ceased to love me, even though I daily abandon him. Your sacrifice on the cross is why I'm standing here today. Hey. Is that good enough? Because I'll just go sit down right now. Okay. All right. I was told that the Valedictorian was supposed to speak about the future, to propose a challenge to my fellow graduates. And so I spent some time thinking about the future and about things to come and about life and time in general. Time itself is very intriguing. It consists of three parts: the past, the present, and the future. While the past and the future are infinite, the present is but a brief moment in between the two, an eternal transition between what was and what will be. And what is funny is that although the past and the future dominate the immeasurable timeline of the universe, we can only experience the present. We are not guaranteed the future, and the past is set. We cannot change it. And all of us are given a specific amount of time in life, and it's what we do in that time which defines who we are, what we believe, and ultimately the impact, good and bad, we make on the world. Now, you all know this. These concepts of time and how it functions in our lives are not new or revolutionary, but they are impactful. Because when we realize that the present is all we can influence, all we can affect, we cease letting the mistakes and regrets of the past and the safety net that is the future dominate our thoughts, and we allow room for the motivation and drive needed right now. So first, as you peer into your futures, I ask you to pursue tomorrow's dreams and hopes, not tomorrow, but today. Do not wait for your dreams to magically come to fruition. They won't. You must go out there and make them happen. Abigail Adams, in one of her letters to her husband, wrote this: "We have too many high-sounding words and too few actions that correspond with them." Now, I hope that all of you have dreams and aspirations for your life, but sadly, these dreams are just your imagination until they are backed up with actions. As Nike so simply puts it, just do it. Dream incredible dreams and see those dreams realized. And you may ask how, and I would tell you, do not limit yourself. Too many times we humans allow ourselves to be limited by little things: our appearance, our bank account, our ethnicity, our backgrounds, our past, the difficulty of the task before us, our abilities, our intelligence, our age, what society renders us capable of, and others' opinions of us. These things do not matter. The only thing that can truly limit us is our will, our determination, and our faith in what is possible. Henry Ford once said, "If you think you can do a thing, or you think you can't do a thing, you're right." All of you, after you walk off of the stage with your diploma in hand, have the enormous potential to provoke positive change in the world. So don't wait for change. Be the change you want to see in the world. Got that from our little shirts or whatever. That's not mine, by the way. Gandhi. Also, and speaking of tomorrow, know this. We, class of 2009, are the generation of the future. And as corny and cheesy as it sounds, we will lead the world of tomorrow, and the guiding principles that we live by as a whole will determine the extent of our success. And just as those souls that came before us, we are faced with troubling circumstances. I recently read a list of statistics about the world we live in. They read, if we could shrink the Earth's population to a village of precisely 100 people, with all the existing human ratios remaining the same, there would be 80 living in substandard housing. 70 would be unable to read. 50 would suffer from malnutrition. 1 would be near death. 1 would be near birth. 1, yes, only 1 would have a college education, and 1 would own a computer. I say all this not to depress you, but instead to inspire you, because although our generation will encounter seemingly insurmountable obstacles in the years to come, we are also blessed with even greater opportunity. Along with that previous study that I just quoted, I also read, if you woke up this morning with more health than illness, you are more blessed than the million who will not survive this week. If you have never experienced the danger of battle, the loneliness of imprisonment, the agony of torture, or the pangs of starvation, you are ahead of 500 million people in the world. If you can attend a church meeting without fear of harassment, arrest, torture, or death, you are more blessed than 3 billion people in the world. If you have food in the refrigerator, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you are richer than 75% of this world. If you have money in the bank, in your wallet, and spare change in a dish someplace, you are among the top 8% of the world's wealthy. Unfortunately, the American generation that you or I are a part of, has failed to grasp how much it really has. Not only have we been blessed with freedom and comfort, but we have the tools and the chance to impact the world in a way that previous generations have not been able to. So I challenge all of you to open your eyes to the incredible opportunities that await you and realize the potential you already possess. And all that life has for you, whether it be your career, your family, your education, whatever it is, don't center it around yourself. Live your lives to see others benefit from it. To be totally honest with you, over the past 4 years, I've been pretty selfish. I've thought mainly about me and little about others. Between music, school, jobs, and other activities, I've had a pretty packed schedule, although I know many of you were exactly the same way. Too many times, however, I use my busy schedule as an excuse to ignore or waste the opportunity to make a friend or to be a friend who needed one, to someone who needed one. I passed people every day in the halls of our high school who needed to know someone cared about them. But for whatever selfish reason, I didn't do anything. I didn't reach out to them. I didn't care. The time that I spent making sure my grades were the best they could be, as well as the time I spent locked in my room playing trumpet, I believe, was time well spent. But ultimately, it was time well spent on me. My glorification, my recognition, my future. And I can't help but wonder what good I could have done in someone else's life if I simply stopped worrying about my own pleasure and self-satisfaction. I personally have learned so much from the words of Christ, who said this: "He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it." The popular idea of the world is to work to please yourself in order to achieve happiness. But in fact, the opposite is true. In the words of Robert Louis Stevenson, in every part and corner of our life, to lose oneself is to be gainer, and to forget oneself is to be happy. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this: invest your life in people. Invest your talents in people. Invest your treasures in people. And invest your time here on earth in people. Because at the end of your life, everything else is just stuff. You won't ask to see your trophies or your plaques or cars or a copy of your bank account. What will matter most are the lives you have changed, the hearts you have touched, and the futures you have helped to shape. This is what truly matters in light of eternity. Remember these truths, practice them, and life will be more than you could have ever hoped it would be. I have no doubt that all of you are capable of great things in the future, and that you can and will reach your full potential. And I had earlier talked about dreaming big dreams and seeing those dreams realized. But my deepest desires for your life are to have dreams that are not centered around yourself, but that are centered around others. That the primary beneficiaries of your dreams and your aspirations are others, not you. So I challenge you, class of 2009, be selfless. It's been a fun 4 years. Thanks, and congratulations.